Hi, it's James Ibiza.
Hey, it's Roger Sanchez.
What's up? I'm Armin van Buren.
Tom Middleton. Dave Seaman.
Fergie.
Steve Angelo.
Paul Wolford.
Hey guys, I'm Marcus Schultz.
This is Goldie and you're in tune and you're listening to DJ Sounds.
Hi, this is Eddie Halliwell.
This is Tayo.
I'm Laid Back Luke.
Hi, this is Joachim Garraud and you are watching DJsound.com. Remember, the invasion has just begun.
At the beginning.
You're listening to Dan Tait on the Pioneer DJ Sound Show on Ibiza Sonica.
People from all over the world.
And we're back. This is Dan Tait here on the Pioneer DJ Sound Show for another splendid edition. And as you can see with me, I've got some very special guests in the studio. A little bit tired from last night, but we're going to get that to that later. But please welcome Sunnery James and Ryan Marciano. How are you doing, guys? What's going on?
Good, thank you so much. Good. I'm feeling quite well as we go. We had a real rough night last night at some
whole day.
Yeah.
Ushuaia and Pacha.
Yeah.
I mean, you did the double whammy. I mean, let's start with Ushuaia first of all.
It was crazy. Well, it was the first time they would play actually with the SHM. It was the Size Matter State Go from Steve Angelo, Junior Sanchez, and Third Party. And it was crazy. I think it's one of the best venues in the world. And
so slamming out the beats.
Yeah.
By that pool.
Yeah.
With Steve Angelo.
Yeah, you know.
In the sun.
Yeah.
Ibiza at the end of July, you know, we're just getting to August. Lots of fun, yeah.
With Airbus.
We do a bunch of shows, but this is like, one of the special ones.
Yeah, it's really special. We had a double like Ushuaia and Pacha was even, it's like a nice after party. I should have
Pacha is an after party. So come on, tell me about Pacha. I mean, playing for Eric. I mean, you guys must have kind of grown up with Eric.
I think in our opinion, he's a living legend. I think what he did for the whole scene and together with guys like Sanchez, Cox, and guys like that, I think, it was a real honor to play on a night like that. It's like every big DJ star there. Like Dave Guetta started at Eric Morillo, Steve Angelo, it's all suites. So it's a big honor to play for him. It was a crazy night last night. Yeah.
I mean, now how does it work? Because did Eric come on at about 5?
He came in like 4:15, but we started like 3:30, and then Steve took over, and then they started playing together around 5. They did back-to-back, Steve and Eric. 5-0.
That's good.
Yeah, that's good. That was good. It was really good.
I saw tweets from you like a couple of hours. Well, like when I was boarding the plane this morning, they were just like, Pacha still going.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's get over last night's festivities. What's going on? You've been so busy. I mean, we caught up with you a couple of years ago, just as we launched the DJM 900 Nexus. We caught up with you in Miami.
Yes.
Still in love with that one.
Yeah, really good.
I mean, but it's been crazy since, hasn't it? I mean, you're signed to Spinning, you're releasing on Size.
Yeah.
Tell us what's going on.
Hey, we're not signed on Spinning. We're not signed.
Oh, okay.
We're not signed yet. No label. We're releasing tracks on Spinning, on Size, on CR2. What else?
Like Produces Horse.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
No, but I think we traveling around the world with DJs, and we going around the world. Things are going really fast with us now, and and now the trucks are coming. We did some tracks. We did an industry cover. I think you were asking me.
Yeah.
That was the latest big thing we did, and the next 4 or 5 months, every month they release. So we're really excited for that.
Awesome.
A bit much, but we have to. Yeah.
And Amazon?
Crazy. It's we started it like 3 years ago.
For those that don't know, come on, tell us all about it. Start from year dot.
We started we started with Chucky. He had a big show. We did a Dutch in Amsterdam, and it was quite a big event. Like in Holland, it was one of the biggest shows. And then he saw us playing, and it was when he first started doing this was really hip hop, like urban. They called it urban, like hip hop and the dance hall. And then the whole thing shifted in Holland, and he started to play house, like eclectic music. And he liked it because we were really tribalish and like South American style. And he asked us to play.
Yeah.
And then we had a big crowd, and all of a sudden we went big, and we had on his stage, you know.
Yeah,
and he gave us did this aftershock in the Heineken Music Hall. He gave the whole night to us. Just do your 3-hour set, and that was from that moment it went like really fast.
So the Amazon project is more like we can do what we want, whatever we want. You know, we can play how long we want. We do like 5-hour sets.
Yeah.
And then we just try to build it up all the way. And
just keep on building and building like a wall of sound.
After the show, they gave for the IDT and the company, they gave us like all night Amazon project, and we sold out all the time. It's really crazy. You play 3-5 hours and it's going.
Yeah.
I think really that all big DJs kind of like, they do have one time in their career where they were like, this is where I cut my teeth.
Yeah.
This is where I was like playing for hours and hours and hours.
Yeah.
And I think that that's really where you can start exploring yourself musically.
Yeah.
You know, where am I going to go? What part of my roots am I going to kind of exploit? And
you play for the people who really like your music, you know? You can do what you want. That's what you... And when you're on a big festival and line up with a bunch of like different acts, you have to...
play an intro record for 20 minutes. and then play like your own tracks.
Yeah, you have to do that.
Yeah.
You have to do that, you know, like you can't. Of course, you don't have to sell your soul to the devil.
Yeah,
it's like you have to adapt, like in between play everything. You have to please the crowd in a certain way.
I mean, you know, I think as Armin actually said, you know, who wants to eat steak every day? Because when someone asks him, you know, would you prefer festivals or clubs?
It's different things, so different.
True.
You know?
But I think you'll probably build a more impassioned following, don't you? If you actually have the whole night yourself. People know what you're about, they know what to expect, but they don't know what to expect. You know that they're going to
come for
surprise, you know?
And these are people who come to get surprised. That's what we like.
Okay, superb. Now, we're just about to see you in the mix, but how does it work? Because I imagine there's a lot of hands crisscrossing, and is someone the backbone and the other person like the lipstick, or
no? We just mix each record all the time, and
so one-on-one.
I'm going vocal, sometimes he going effects, and it's all going. But when I feel to do something, I do it. When he feels to do something, I do it. Yeah. But you give us a really hard time with this friend because it's endless, and I'm getting crazy. I want to touch everybody. I don't know how it works.
It keeps watching us like, come on, touch me.
So don't get me wrong. I gotta try something. I love surprise, so we gotta try some things. And don't judge me because maybe you're gonna get some. Like, you know,
there's going to be some craziness. So I mean, let me just fill the listeners in. Basically, you were at Pacha last night.
Yeah.
You went up into the Pacha lab, and one of our resident lab cats, Mo Funk, Andy Baxter, one of them showed you around the RMX.
Yes.
So that was last night. So now you kind of
after the shots he showed us.
Pandora's box has been opened.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, wonderful. Well, I think we need to get you in the mix.
Let's go.
We need to do this.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
Awesome.
Yes.
This is Dan Tait here on the Pioneer DJ Sound Show. In the mix, Ryan Marciano and Sunnery James. massive horn when you need it.
otro movilero, otro movilero. Descarga de tiempo.
Forget you're checking out Sunnery James and Ryan Marciano here on the Pioneer DJ Sound Show.
Understands house music. It's a spiritual thing, a body thing, a soul thing, a soul thing. Not everyone understands house music. It's a spiritual thing, a body thing, a soul thing, a soul thing. Not everyone, not everyone, not everyone, not everyone, not everyone.
Good morning, Ibiza. Good night, New York. Good night, LA. Good night, Chicago. Good night, Philly. Good night, Paris. Good night, UK. Good morning.
And don't forget, you're going to be able to watch the other shows on our YouTube channel, Pioneer DJ Sounds. This is Sunnery James and Ryan Marciano in the mix. Just rounding things off, a little less than 10 minutes left before we have another little chat with them just to round off the show. whoa. Heavy, groovy beats.
Yeah, that's what we like today. I told you I just wake up, so I want to play some sexy stuff. Yeah.
I mean, we had quite a colourful show last summer when we had Claude Von Stroke and Alex Nigman in on a Monday afternoon after they played at We Love the night before.
So how did it
let's just say Barclay hadn't been but I think it kind of helps, doesn't it, when you need to come in and do a studio mix like this, you've had a big night the night before, because you kind of got it coursing through you, haven't you? You've got the drums and the beats and
stuff. Yes.
So did you enjoy that?
And it was amazing. Especially this thing here. It's endless, and we
weren't even in the tracks. We just
to figure things out like as we're playing. So
But isn't that the best way? I mean, how did it actually start? You know, both of you playing with one another.
With what?
All playing together. You know, as a duo.
How we started?
Yeah.
It's a long time ago. We just started collecting music. I even like to be a DJ. We just like to play as everybody on your room and try to make mixtapes with friends. And give it to people. I was a soccer player, and I was bordering all my teammates, like, listen to this mix, and so like, yeah, you're with your dance music. And all of a sudden, a friend of mine asked us to play in a party, a small club in Amsterdam, and it was a success. It was one of the biggest nights in town, and we were the residents, and that's why everybody started booking us. And
awesome. So you were friends before you became.
Actually we were friends.
So you've got many stories about. But probably
you have time.
But probably equal amounts on either side.
Yes.
So you've got each other exactly where.
We know each other. Like, I think I know him better than his own. I don't know. I don't want to say that his mother, but maybe I think he knows me better than me.
We were together like 24/7, and especially now during the summer, we're traveling a lot, so we're just like doing everything.
If I had to work with someone like myself, I would already kill him. But he's like, he can handle me, I can handle him. That's
awesome. Now, many of your own productions in the mix there?
Yeah, a lot of new. One new thing we played with Puma. Sorry guys, we had to do it. It was in the group, but we put some focus on it and Aero Mix, so people can.
It isn't quite finished yet, but
but it's a new one, and we played some tracks really nice. We did some Size, Marcusa we played, I think. The Tribeca, Klein, some own productions, some edits and cuts,
Excellent. And so, what does the rest of the summer hold for you?
Wow. You know what? When you're that busy, you like not scared, but you want to live from now. You don't want to live forward. But we gotta do a lot of things in Ibiza, still Amnesia, Pacha Ushuaia.
This Saturday we're doing Tomorrowland.
Yes,
it's gonna be
a big one. We're gonna do only show Sunday in Amsterdam again, in Bloomingdale. Then we're going to Brazil. We're going to America, the United States. Going all the whole world. In the summer.
Let's talk about America for a second.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I overheard earlier that you're actually based in New York.
Yeah.
Why New York? Why Vegas? Why not LA?
It's not even because of the dance music scene. It's about like my private situation with my family. So like more like my wife and my child are there. So that's why. But if I had to choose for a dance oriented, everybody's in LA to make music and stuff. But if I had to choose, I would choose New York because I love New York City, the whole vibe, the whole energy. What's going on right there. So
we were raised in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
So and New York quite feel a little bit the same.
Yeah, the same energy.
On New York kind of melting pot.
Multicultural,
Okay. And let's bring it back to the mix.
Yeah.
Right. So 3 CDJ2000s, DJM 900 Nexus, and then the RMX 1000.
Yes.
So what were you feeling the most on the RMX?
I will love the noise. The noise thing is really.
But the filter is insane as well. That's crazy.
Yeah.
You can when you filter something is on low out, it sounds like a totally different track. That's why I call it mix. I think.
Yeah.
So I mean, we were kind of discussing off air earlier that it'd probably be great for you guys to actually have an RMX each.
Yeah.
And actually just have one on each deck.
Yeah.
So that you could actually still use the effects on.
You know what the thing is with this? You can finally for a DJ, it's like you can have a show. You know, you can play the music, you can do your own samples, you can drop your own samples and make a whole own identity, own sound.
And it's so easy to use. So easy, you know. We just walked in. We saw it on the pictures and everything, and we tried to figure out. But it's so easy, you know.
Yeah.
And especially if you put your own sounds in, your own banks.
Gives a whole new dimension to your set. A whole new dimension to your set. Yeah. And the only thing I have to know what I'm doing, because I'm thinking still, you know. With this, it's in my
Yeah.
It's like your pocket.
You can do it.
It's like your pocket, you know.
Okay, well that mix was absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. We tried to get you last year, but schedules just wouldn't allow, so I'm really, really happy.
Thank you so much for having us. It was really nice.
Excellent. So where can people catch up with you?
Check us out on the website sj-rm.com or Twitter, like Sunnery James Ryan Marciano. We have a Twitter account together, it's sj_rm. Facebook, you know, the social media.
We put a lot of bullshit over there. And a little bit info.
So, excellent. And when can people next get you on the island?
The next one is 2 weeks. No, next week, I think.
Next week?
Amnesia, right? Let me check our website. It's all there.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for coming on the show, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hope to come back.
See you soon.
Awesome.
DJsounds.
Thank you.
So your radio show is?
This is the Pioneer DJ Sound Show.
Okay.
So this is Dan Tait signing out for another week. We've already had so many amazing guests this summer, and we've got some right old fresh ones coming up soon as well as some old favourites. Don't forget to keep your firmware up to date. Check pioneerdj.eu. Also check www.djsounds.com. Download the latest version of Recordbox and the firmware for the RMX 1000, DJM 900 Nexus and CDJ 2000s. This is Dan Tait signing out. See you next time. Goodbye.